यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा मुरलीधर राधा मुरलीधर राधे जय राधा मुरलीधर राधा मुरलीधर राधे जय राधा रमण राधा रमण राधे जय राधा रमण राधा रमण राधे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा चंद्रक कृष्ण राधा चंद्रक कृष्ण राधा जय राधा चंद्रक कृष्ण राधा चंद्रक कृष्ण राधा जय राधा विनोद राधा विनोद राधे जय राधा विनोद राधा विनोद राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन जय गौरनिता जय गौरनिता गौरनिता जय गौरनिता जय पंचतत्वा जय पंचतत्वा पंचतत्वा जय पंचतत्वा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव व्यामष्पाद ब्रह्म स्त्रोत्र वचन भक्तिदम श्रील प्रपाद महाराज की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापक श्रील प्रपाद महाराज की जय। कृष्ण कृपामूर्ति श्रील प्रपाद महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रपाद महाराज की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद ब्रह्म स्त्रोत्र सदा हिज जैन भक्त सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव अनंत कोटि आचार्य वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ राधा श्याम कुंठ गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी द्वारका धाम की जय। गंगे में यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी भक्त देव की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम हरिनाम संकीर्तन श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेशन बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल ड्यूटी All glories to assemble duties. All glories to assemble duties. All glories to all glories, Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Welcome to all devotees for today's Bhagavatam session. So we'll be taking from the third canto, the 20th chapter and shloka 19 to 23. I will begin with my prayer. Om Agnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shruta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sakraja Tam Sagana Ragana Tanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Taptakan Chana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shibhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarusha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Paditana Pavane Pyo Vaishnave Pyo Namarma Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jai Mudhire Ashtapraya Shabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Krishna. So we'll take up the shloka 19. Visasarjatmanaha kayam nabhinandam stamomayam jagro rakshamshi ratrim kshutrut samudbhavam Visasarjatmanaha kayam nabhinandam stamomayam jagro rakshamshi ratrim kshutrut samudbhavam. Word by word meaning. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Visa sarja, through of Atmanaha, his own, Kayam, body, na, not, Abhinandan, being pleased, Tama, Mayam, made of ignorance, Jagru, took possession, Yaksha, Rakshamsi, the Yakshas and Rakshasas, Ratrin, night, Shrit, hunger, Trit, thirst, Samudbhavam, the source. Translation. Out of disgust, Brahma threw off the body of ignorance, and taking this opportunity, Yakshas and Rakshasas sprang for possession of the body, which continued to exist in the form of night. Night is the source of hunger and thirst. So there is no purport. We'll go to the next shloka. So devotees can read the translation, shloka and translation.
Anusuya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare
Krishna. Trudhyam upasristhaste tam jagat jagdhum abhidhu durvuha marakshat sainam jagat sadhvam ityuchuhu shutrud arditaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Overpowered by hunger and thirst, they ran to devour Brahma from all sides and cried, "Spare him not, eat him up." Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
The representatives of the Yakshas and Rakshasas will still exist in some countries of the world. It is understood that such uncivilized men take pleasure in killing their own grandfathers and holding a love feast by roasting the bodies. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah, next shloka. Yeah, I think we'll cover this. Then I'll make it.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
देवस्तान् आह संविघ्नो मां चक्षत रक्षता अहो मे यक्ष रक्षांसि प्रजायूयं बभूविता. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Sindhu Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Pranam Shivji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahma, the head of the demigods, full of anxiety, asked them, "Do not eat me but protect me. You are born from me and have become my sons. Therefore, you are Yakshas and Rakshasas."
Vasudha Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Purport. The demons who were born from the body of Brahma were called Yakshas and Rakshasas because some of them cried that Brahma should be eaten and the others cried that he should not be protected. The ones who said that he should be eaten were called Yakshas, and the ones who said that he should not be protected became Rakshasas, man-eaters.
Yeah.
The two Yakshas and Rakshasas are the original creation by Brahma and are represented even until today in the uncivilized men who are scared all over the universe. They are born of the mode of ignorance, and therefore, because of their behavior, they are called Rakshasas or man-eaters. Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Mataji. Hare Krishna. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuntam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, as we see in this chapter, the conversation between between Suta Goswami and Shaunaka Rishi. So that is happening. And again, intermingled with that, as a flashback, there is also the conversation of Maitreya Muni and Vidura. So here, now that in the previous chapter we saw that it was the annihilation of Hiranyaksha. So Hiranyaksha was killed, and now there is a conversation going on between these sages, and as we see that Brahma is given the charge of this Visarga, the secondary creation. So in this secondary creation, what all he had to face? Of course, he was empowered by the Lord for this creation, but while the Prakriti was being created, Prakriti was there, and then he created the three modes, and all this coming through the form of the shining egg, that is the Hiranyagarbha, as we understand. So that we come across in this shloka number 16. So 16, from the navel of the personality of Godhead, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu sprouted a lotus flower, effulgent like 1,000 blazing suns. This lotus flower is the reservoir of all conditioned souls, and the first living entity who came out of the lotus flower was the omnipotent Brahma. So Brahma first came, and then, as Prabhupada explains, that from this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, it appears from this was the conditioned souls who rested within the body of the personality of Godhead after the dissolution of the last creation came out in the sum total form of the lotus. This is called Hiranyagarbha. So entire after the creation, after the dissolution happens, the pralaya, every soul is or every animate, inanimate, everything is embedded in the body of the Lord, and then it is again coming back to life. So that the egg-shaped form of the Lord's creation, so that is called the Hiranyagarbha. And the first living, and again here, the The first living entity to come out was Lord Brahma, who is independently able to create the rest of the manifested universe. The lotus is described here as effulgent as a glare of thousand suns. This indicates that the living entities as parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord are also of the same quality, since the Lord also diffuses his bodily glare known as Brahma Jyoti. So here itself the Brahma Jyoti is evident, where the Lord is in his creation, when the lotus is described, the lotus from where the Lord Brahma came, the lotus itself is having that kind of a effulgence. And what to speak of the Lord? So this indicates the living entities as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord are also of the same quality, since the Lord also diffuses his body glare. So the Brahma Jyoti from the Lord is also coming, and also, it is also, spread out to the lotus, and the entire space is filled with this Brahma Jyoti. It's a very, very vast area of the Lord, and this is the description of the Brahma Jyoti. Then we come across, we understand what is the Vaikuntha Loka. The description of Vaikuntha Loka, as stated in Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures, is confirmed herewith. In Vaikuntha, the spiritual sky, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, electricity, or fire. Every planet there is self-effulgent like the sun. So that way, the description of Vaikuntha Loka, which is actually far, far, far behind from this effulgence, and this is also mentioned. And even that Vaikuntha, also the spiritual sky, the spiritual planet also doesn't need any electricity. And there's no need of moonshine or sunshine. Everything is there as effulgent, all by the grace of the Supreme Lord. So when Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is lying in the Garbhodaga ocean, entered the heart of Brahma, Brahma brought his intelligence to bear, and with the intelligence invoked, he began to create the universe as it was before. So what was before dissolution, before Pralaya, the same characteristics or the same kind of features, the Prakriti is also existing. Prakriti comes, and then the living entity comes. So then the activities start. So all this is given by the intelligence, is given by the Lord. And with that intelligence, the primary intelligence, Brahma is able to create. So we come across this, the part of this Shrishti in many places in their conversations. Right from the first canto itself, we see that how Brahmaji came, how Rudra came, how the four Kumaras came. So all these things are there, and it keeps discussing. And because third chapter is exclusively dedicated for the Prakriti, so here we find the superlative creative energy of the Lord, and how these are created. The cosmic manifestation is described. So as we come to the next shloka, we understand that how Lord first created, Brahma created first the Tamo Guna from the shadow of his covering of the ignorance of the conditioned souls. He created first, and there the five different varieties of Tamoguna, the Tamishra, Andatamishra, Tamas, Moha, Mahamoha. So these were created. I think all this would have been studied already by covered by the previous preacher. So I will not go into this. So this happens. All the five parts of ignorance are most important, the features from where even the living entity is actually afflicted by this ignorance or the avidya, and the variety of the avidya is in the five forms. So that is being mentioned, how these five forms influences the living entity, like how we have the primary modes of material nature, which is the Satoguna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. And under each of these, Rajoguna or in the Satoguna or in the Tamoguna, also there is this different degrees of afflictions. And out of that, in ignorance, it has been specifically given that these are the five afflictions which will affect the entity, and because of that, entity suffers. So now, as we see in this shloka 19, out of disgust, Brahma threw off the body of ignorance, and taking this opportunity, Yakshas and Rakshasas sprang for the possession of the body, which continued to exist in the form of night. Night is the source of hunger and thirst. So while he is doing this, the moment he started doing the ignorance part, then obviously the other entities, actually he was agitated. Brahma was also agitated while creating this ignorance. And that is how, these two different entities came of the yakshas and rakshasas from his body. And when did they come out? Also in the form of night, in the probably in the mode of darkness. And so that is again same related to that subject. And as the shloka says, there is the source of hunger and thirst. So the living entity actually is having this, these two hunger and thirst, which will keep affecting him. And as we see in the mode of ignorance, generally people will take to alcohol, will take to drugs, or lazy, things like this. And they get a kind of a craving to get attached to certain very addictive or spurious subjects, spurious matters. And that is how that is the hunger and thirst here, what it means. And the more they get attached to it, the more they suffer. So overpowered by hunger and thirst, they ran to devour Brahma from all sides. And when these were elements were there, actually the yakshas and rakshasas only were empowered. They were themselves were empowered, and they started getting into that mode of ignorance, a typical mode of ignorance. They were so much affected. They actually wanted to devour Brahma. They wanted to kill him. It is like that we understand that story, how a mouse becomes a lion, and then again by the curse of the rishi, it again comes back to its original position. Like the mouse wanted to was there, and it wanted to. It was actually affected by like cats, dogs. All these were affecting it. They were all their enemies. They're preying on this mice. So the mice came across one sadhu and said, and then made a lot of affinity with the sadhu, became friendly, and it was serving the sadhu in a very menial way, trying to help him by cleaning the area, or by doing some small activities. So the sadhu also got very impressed with the mouse, and then so he said that, and then mouse started telling to the sadhu that, see, I'm very much affected here. A lot of trouble is happening. So I want to come out of this body of this mouse, and let me get a higher body so that I can be in control of my situation. I don't want to get affected. So by the dint of its service and by its loving nature, the sadhu also said, okay, fine. Anyway, now you are trying to reform, and you probably want to get a bigger life. Okay, you please ask what do you want. And so I said that I want to become a cat. Then the rishi said, okay, tatastu, you become a cat. By his mystic power, he could make that as a cat. And the same cat then was again pestered by other animals, and it said, no, I want to become bigger. And then it came to know that finally the lion is the king of the jungle, so let me become a lion. And then it prayed to the rishi, and then rishi also said, okay, tatastu. But he had also warned that this is a very when you come to this position, the higher position and all these things, you will also get a lot of, you'll be affected by this egoistic nature, and then the propensity to attack and kill, violence is more in a lion, whereas you are in a mice or a mouse, you didn't have that capacity. So you have to be controlled in that, you have to be careful. But the mouse said that, no, nothing problem, I will manage, I will maintain. And then it became a lion. And the moment it became a lion, what it did, it finally wanted to devour the sadhu itself, because the flesh, they wanted the flesh, and it's fond of flesh. So at that, finally the sage had to run, and then finally he took shelter of a tree, and then the tree top, and then he finally said that, no, now I told you that this is the nature. You will become violent, and you will become aggressive. You will not be able to control. You are not able to do that. So better that you become mouse. So again, he cursed it to become a mouse. So it came back. So this is just to explain how the material nature, how it can affect a living entity. So it's always these three modes are affecting, and it is impossible for anyone to curb it unless by the grace of Lord, by the grace of devotees, by the grace of holy name. So this can be, to some extent, we can be able to manage it to some allowable limits. Otherwise, it will go haywire. So this way, how here we see that how the Yakshas and Rakshasas were formed, but once they are formed, they actually to their original nature. What is their original nature is that to be violent, to be aggressive, and very destructive mode. So that kind of a behavior. So here, what we can understand here, the Yakshas and Rakshasas, there is a subtle difference. I think we will come across that what is the meaning of Yakshas and Rakshasas in the next in the next shlokas. We'll see what is the difference. And after this, I think we'll take up some more details about this. We'll just finish off the shlokas. We'll see what is that. So here, as we see in the 20th shloka, the representative of Yakshas and Rakshasas still exist. Prabhupada says they still exist in some countries of the world. It is understood that such uncivilized men, so men, becoming Yakshas and Rakshasas, or Yakshas and Rakshasas becoming men, because most people who are so violent and so many, we have seen so many dictators, so many big personality holding big positions, how they are taking pleasure in killing their own people, and then how by their dictatorship or by their extreme ways of violent behavior. They have killed so many dictators, or so many people have come leaders in this world who actually have massacred so many people, so many genocide we have seen. There was this chemical warfare, this atomic warfare. So in all these cases, we can see the top personalities were actually almost, they have behaved like Rakshasas, they're demonic people. Although they were in the having a human form, but they have behaved worse than in a human form. So, and that is being mentioned. So we'll come across this. I'll explain this little later. We'll go to the next sloka, 21 and 22. And so 21, somebody can read.
Shanti Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Devataha prabayaya dhivyan pramukato shrujat deharshurdevayanto vishrishtham tam prabha.
No, which one? I think 21. 21 was done,
21
right?
is done, Prabhu. Yeah, 22.
Okay, yeah.
22.
Mataji, to read again?
Yeah, Mataji, please.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Devataha prabayaya dhivyan pramukato shrujat deharshurdevayanto vishrishtham tam prabhamaha. Hare Krishna.
Translation also, Mataji.
Okay, translation. Translation of Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He then created the chief demigods who were shining with the glory of goodness. He dropped before them the effulgent from form of daytime, and the demigods sportingly took possessions of it.
Janki Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare
Now,
Krishna.
purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Demons were born from the creation of night, and the demigods were born from the creation of day. In other words, the demons like the Yakshas and Rakshasas are born of the quality of ignorance, and demigods are born of the quality of goodness. Thank you.
Mataji
Hare
next.
Krishna.
Prabhu, will you explain this?
Yeah. I think there was some disturbance. I didn't hear. Okay. But I'm able to. I'm audible, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. We can hear
I'm
you.
audible.
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Very much. There's some problem.
Yeah, I'm audible. I
Yes,
think some
Prabhu.
videos, maybe some videos can be, they can block it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So, as I was mentioning, that yakshas and rakshasas, that is the difference is being given here in this shloka. So, as Prabhupada says, the ones who said that he should be eaten were called yakshas, and the ones who said he should be protected, he should not be protected, became rakshasas. So, yakshas wanted to devour Brahma, and as far as the others set of those rakshasas were the one who did not want to protect. Basically, it is man-eater. So both of them have having the same, quality or the characteristic of devouring or eating away, and they wanted to do it to Brahma himself. So the two yakshas and rakshasas are the original creation by Brahma and are represented even today in these uncivilized men who are scattered all over the universe. They're born of the mode of ignorance, and therefore, because of their behavior, they are called as rakshasas or man-eaters. So that Prabhupada gives this explanation. And then in the next one, shloka, the 22nd shloka, so we come across here that during the day of creation of Brahma, the demigods were created, and they were all in the mode of goodness. He dropped before them the effulgent form of daytime, and the demigods sportingly took possession of it. So demons were born from the creation of the night. The demigods were during the daytime. In other words, yakshas and rakshasas are born of the quality of ignorance, and demigods are born of the quality of goodness. So very clearly, we can make out how the entities also get associated. The more they associate in the daytime, the more they associate with the mode of goodness, the more they associate with the mode of gaining knowledge. They all will become devotees, and they can always be in in good attitude. Whereas if you are taking to the mode of ignorance, and if you are imbibing those qualities, then we will have to suffer, and then be completely dominated by the tamoguna, which is the ignorance, and we'll fall prey to so many of bad habits, or doing wrong things, and that way we get associated, and then we get entangled. So like this here, it is very clear. So we'll take up this shloka 23.
Hare Krishna. Just a minute. Yeah, Shilpa Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Devo devan jagatnata srijati samati lolupan ta iman lolupatyaya maithunaya bipetide. Translation, Mataji, should I read?
Yeah, yes, Mataji.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Brahma then gave birth to the demons from his buttocks, and they were very fond of sex. Because they were too lustful, they approached him for copulation.
Yes.
Meenakshi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Do I read the purport or the next sloka Mataji?
Purport, Mataji.
Read the purport.
Okay Mataji. Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sex life is the background of material existence. Here also it is repeated that demons are very fond of sex life. The more one is free from the desire for sex, the more he is promoted to the level of the demigods. The more one is inclined to enjoy sex, the more he is degraded to the level of demonic life. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. No problem. Yeah. So as we come a little further, so it is very clear that how Brahma, when he gave birth to the demons, they were born from the buttocks, and they were very fond of this sex life. And because they were lustful, they immediately started to approach the Lord himself and for the population. So as Prabhupada says, that the entire material existence, it is depending on this sex life, and the demons were fond of it. The more one is free from desire for sex life, he is more promoted to the level of demigods. Otherwise, if a person has a if entity has a propensity to enjoy the sex and that related subject matters, then he is actually degraded. He will have to suffer like a demonic life. So here the dividing line, as we understand, is that in this material life, in this material our living existence, although human or any entity has that one of the basic needs, which is the maithunya or the sex, but then we have to have it on a regulated basis. The more it is regulated, the person is saved. And as far as when it comes to the human and the animals, so in animal kingdom, in the animal life, the sex life is also there, the enjoyment is also there. But the best part in the animal life and the human life is that the mating season, there is a mating season for the animals. So that way, it is already by nature, it is regulated. It is not that any time of the year or any time of the month, they're having the union. Whereas so that way, it is not really affected, and they're not affected by this mode of passion in the real sense, because it is already regulated and it is seasonal, and because the nature also needs. So that way, Lord has made all the arrangement for the animal life. And whereas in the human life, he has given the mind, intelligence, ego, and even the sex life is also given on a very very free basis. So the more independence human has. But at the same time, what the Lord has given, the success, the goal of a human life is that, or a success of human life is that, how you are able to control your senses. The senses are there, the Lord has provided, but at the same time, you have to see that how you are regulated, how you are controlling it. So this is actually a very decisive or a challenging aspect of human life. The facilities are there to enjoy, but you have to stay away. You have to relinquish it. So the more you are able to disassociate with material life, the more you can go to the spiritual realm. Otherwise, we have to be suffering here, entangled in this material world. It is like the two ropes. You're holding two ropes, and the more the rope goes towards the material life, and then you'll become free of it. Then you can increase this your spiritual life. So like that, you have to balance it. And as Bhagavatam itself says that as far as whole human creation, what is that? Pumsastriya maithuni bhavametam tayor mito hridaya grantir ahu ato gruha kshetra sutapta vittair janasya moho ayam aham mameti. So this is the crux of our human life, that the attraction between the male and female, this is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this conception, the hearts of male and female, they become attracted, and the moment they get attracted, they also have byproducts. And what is that? The material attractions keep on increasing. So what is that? It will come with the form of the body, the home, then you have property, then you need children, you need relatives, you need wealth, you need society. So like this, he goes on and on, increases and falls into that the illusion, and then thinks in terms of aham mama mameti. So this will be the ultimate result. So he keeps on increasing his attachment. So this is the one which is going to keep you bounded if you are in the material world. But if you stay away from this material afflictions and have your enjoyment propensity to the regulated form, then you can actually stay when you can go to the spiritual realm. Otherwise, it is not possible. So that's why in our practice of Krishna consciousness also, that we should practically apply these principles, and only then our spiritual life can be successful. We cannot put one foot in the material life and one foot in the spiritual life, and then two boats, one material boat and one spiritual boat, and then we cannot go forward. Either you have to be in the material life, in the material boat, or in the spiritual boat, and then our journey can be going forward. So like this, these are the a few lessons we get from these shlokas. And so I would like to take up a most important aspect of this yakshas and their examples in the history. So Kubera is considered one of the yakshas, and he had that quality of an yaksha. But in his case, he was a very pious nature, and he actually was at the same time demigod, and also he had his potency of being in good nature, and that is how he was able to rule. And then he got the status of demigod, and then he got the administration of taking care of the wealth, the entire wealth of this material world. And he also happened to be a brother of Ravana, and Ravana attacked him. So he had to run away from Sri Lanka. He was actually living in Lanka, and then he had to leave from there. And then he settled there in Alakapuri, near Himalayas, it is said. So like this, he was one of the yakshas. And the moment we talk of yakshas, the one very important pastime or a story which we also get is during the life of Pandavas, right? Most of you have heard about the Yaksha Prashna. So Yaksha Prashna is actually was one test to Yudhishthira. And the place where this the Yaksha Prashna happened is also there in somewhere in Vrindavan. We have heard about these 12 ones, and among the 12 forests there is one Kamyavan. Kamyavan is actually the place where Pandavas lived. Even during their when they were in the exile, they lived there. And after that, when they went in the incognito or the Agnatavas, so they moved on to different places. So if you go to Kamyavan even today, it is almost resembles like Vrindavan. There's a lot of temples, Radha Krishna temples, and there is also a temple of the Pandavas. There is some temples for the Pandavas. Their murtis are there, and we can see the palace of the Pandavas. Of course, it is all very now in shambles. It's not, we cannot, but we can see the palace which was there of Pandavas when they ruled, and they were there in that area. And there are so many kunds in that area in Kamyavan, where different pastimes happened. Vimala Kund and Narad Kund, and I think few of them are there. And it is also said that the Prashna, Yaksha Prashna, which happened also is there in that area, but probably now it is not. It is not clear, or we cannot make out that this is the Yaksha, this is the same Sarovar. So here, what happens is when Pandavas were in that 12 years exile, so there is they come across one Brahmana, and Brahmana he complains that, saying that he had that Arni wood. The Arni wood is the one which the Brahmanas or the rishis and munis they rub it by rubbing by the friction, they'll get fire. They can get the Agni. So that Arni wood has been taken away by a antler, by a deer, which is having this antlers, which or horns, which is called the extension of the horns. So it is taken away, and then they go in search of that Hiran. And when they go in search of Hiran, they come across to this. They're actually feeling very thirsty, and they want to have water. So all the 5 Pandavas are there. And then Yudhishthira says, please somebody go find out where there is a water. Let us quench our thirst. So he sends Nakula. And Nakula, when he goes there, there is a crane which is standing in that. There's nobody else. It's a very nice, peaceful area, but a crane is there. And the crane warns before he bent down to take water to quench his thirst. It warns, saying that if you drink this, it has become poison and you will die. But he doesn't heed, and Nakula drinks that water and he falls down. Then Sahadeva is sent. Sahadeva comes, and then Arjuna comes, the Bhima come. All the 4 come, and all of them meet the same fate. Finally, Yudhishthira himself comes, and then when he comes, and then he sees he want to take taste the water, At that time, the same the baka, the crane, actually warns him, and then the moment he hears the warns, so he finds something. It must be something very mystical, and I have to be careful. So he stops himself, and then he asks, "What is it? Now, why you are asking this?" And then the crane, the baka, says that, and it takes the form of his yaksha, and there the yaksha is really revealed. And who is that yaksha? Yaksha is actually Yamadev, who comes in the form of yaksha, and Yamadev only is questioning. And we also understand that it was only to test his son, or his expansion. Yamadharmaraya's expansion is actually Yudhishthira, who is upholding the virtue, quality of virtue, and all the dharmic principles. So before they go to the Agnatavas, so this was one test which Dharmaraja wanted to do it on his son, on Yudhishthira, and that is how this whole episode happens. And then Yudhishthira, he willingly accepts, without hesitating. He says that, no, please, if you want to ask questions, you please ask. I don't mind. So like that, the question session starts, and that is the famous called as Yaksha Prashne. So there are about 125 questions which are asked, and it is very interesting that these questions were asked and how Yudhishthira gives the reply. One thing we have to understand is that in these answers, what Yudhishthira has given, and also as we know that Mahabharata is actually the fifth. It's considered the fifth Veda, and it is it's more of a it's more of a history, like Itihasa. Like Ramayana, we have Mahabharata. Ramayana happened in the Treta Yuga, and in the Mahabharata happened in the Dwapara Yuga. So there are a lot of answers, or the area around which these answers are dealt, are also within the framework of this dharma, artha, kama, moksha, which is the four purushartha. There is still not much of bhakti which is coming in these itihasas. We don't find that kind of a slokas on bhakti, how you have to do practice of devotional service, how you have to serve the Lord. So these things are actually not found. Even in the Puranas, as we know, among the 18 Puranas, there are 6 Puranas which are in the mode of goodness, 6 Puranas which actually profess more of passion, and another 6 professes some aspects of ignorance. So like this, it is actually meant for when the Puranas were made. Vyasdev, he made it in such a way that this is available for different levels of people, different categories of people, who are having that frame of mind, who is having that what their inclination, they can take to that God. And each of these, as we know, each of these 3 modes are represented by 3 lords, who are the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So they can take to the worship of those these 3 principal deities, and they can do. So that way, our Sanatan Dharma and Vyasdev's the division of these various Puranas have been very systematic, and it gives so much of a free will to the user or to the reader, and he can take his own decision. Even if you see Bhagavad Gita, also Krishna says that after telling all the giving about so much of advice to Partha, he says, Yatechasi tatakuru. So you decide, you deliberate upon this, and then you do what you want. So Lord, in our Sanatan Dharma, our whole policy is that so much of independence and freedom is given to the soul. They can take up as they wish. But actually, that is also, Lord's very extreme intelligence, that he put us in that condition by giving so much of free will, so much of independence. Actually, he has put us loiter in this world because he knows that we'll make mistake, we'll commit some aparadh, we'll go in the wrong path, we take different path, we have our own opinions, and then we'll finally get entangled. The more we question, the more we start researching and then trying to do on our own intelligence, the more we get entangled, the more we are caught in the web. So that's why I think probably that is the reason why in today's world, when the engineers or the scientists in the IT world, when they wanted to give some information in the form of Google or some information, like how Vyasdev was there to give spiritual knowledge, Google is now there to give the material knowledge. And when they made this available, the internet, they formed it, they called it as WWW. What is that? World Wide Web. So that web is what to make us get entangled. So probably it is just a coincidence. It is very it is a truth that we all get caught in this WWW, the big web, and difficult to come out. So now we have the various forms of WWW, which is coming in forms like the progeny coming in form of WhatsApp, Instagram, so many things which are all getting actually caught with us. Hare Krishna. So what I was telling was that how these questions are related, but we have to understand within the realms of this, the four Purusharthas, because it is meant that the seeker, for him, the knowledge level is meant only up to that level. No, only that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and then he gave, and then he told us, Yajanti hi sumedasa. Who can come to Bhakti platform? Who can take to Krishna consciousness? Who can worship Radharani, Srimad Radharani? Who can understand all these concepts? Who can understand the Achintya Bheda? It's only those who are intelligent. Other people, which we find most of the 99.99% of the people are all in the modes of, they're acting on the modes, and their intelligence is not so mature. Because it is not matured, we cannot get you. How much ever we try to preach them, they will not accept, and they will still go in their own ways. But only very few, selected few individuals who have actually have done their sadhana in their earlier lives and come to a stage of perfection can only come to bhakti. So that way, you must be so fortunate, and we must be so thankful to Prabhupada for having brought us into this Krishna consciousness fold. Like I give another example. Like there is a, we all as living entities, we all get sick, right? We get disease. Now there are so many diseases starting from the head till the leg, so many organs and mental diseases, bodily diseases. So many diseases are there. So many injuries can happen, and then we need drugs, medicines to get into that in today's circumstances. So what we do, we go to a medical shop. Now when we go to a medical shop, there are so many drugs available, hundreds and thousands of drugs available in the shelves. But does it mean that I can go pick up any drug? If I do that, what happens? I'm going to probably spoil my health. I'll spoil my, I might get more sick. I might suffer more. So what we have to do, we should have a prescription. That means we should have gone to a doctor first, get the prescription, because doctor knows. So here, our spiritual master, our guru, our parampara, so they know actually what is our disease, what we are suffering, what is our ailment, what medicine you have to get, and how much frequency you have to take. You cannot take more also the medicine just because it is tasting sweet and juicy. You cannot take more medicines. If you take more also, it's a problem, and neither you can take less. So this is the entire prescription is given in our spiritual scriptures and through the parampara, and what to speak of our parampara, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya parampara. It's complete in all respects, and through agency of Prabhupada and all the senior acharyas, we have got this knowledge. So that's why. So what disease you have and what is prescribed as per the prescription, that medicine only we have to take. Only then our disease will be, we will get the relief. It will get cleared from that. So the similar way, the scriptures also have been given, meant for different varieties and varieties. And when a medical store, so many different patients will come for different medicines. So in the same way, the scriptures are also there as a common platform. And then you just have to, so where you fall or what is that you need so that you can proceed further, how you can progress your spiritual life. So that, we have to take, and we have to refer to that scripture. And among all that scriptures, the Bhagavatam, Shrimad Bhagavatam, which is amongst the 18 Puranas, this is considered one of the highest Mala Purana. And because here the Lord's himself, his pastimes are only given, Lord's devotees' pastimes are given. And that is how we are relishing actually this Bhagavatam, Purana. So now I'd just like to take a few aspects of this Yaksha Prashne. So after we cannot cover all that 125 questions, I will link it in such a way that how it will help us in bhakti. How so much correlation is there, and we are doing it in practice. But then Yudhishthir Maharaj gave the answers in such a way that it caters to the needs of all common people. Even to do bhakti, come to the platform of bhakti, we should be first of all in the platform of Sattva-guna. Then we can go to the Shuddha Sattva or the Vasudeva Sattva or this bhakti platform. So there is one set of questions which are asked. This is about So this is the question. I'll just start with some basics things, then we can understand. Who makes the sun rise? If anyone want to answer, they can probably put their answers in the chat box. Who makes the sun rise? Okay, the answer is what Yudhishthira Maharaj gave us, Brahma. Actually, Brahma here means the Supreme Lord. Who keeps the sun company? Gods. Who causes the sun to set? Dharma. And in whom the sun is established? Truth. So like this, it's a very, very generic answer. At this stage, we can understand that how the things are given, what the answers are given. Of course, if we link it, probably we'll get the real understanding. And then, by what does one become learned? The Shrutis, the scriptures, which are heard. So this is how one acquires something very great. By austerities, tapas, we can get some great knowledge. And how our ascetics, it also says ascetic means the sadhus and sannyasis, from that we can get knowledge. How can one acquire knowledge? So here it says, very interestingly, serving the old. So probably at that point of time, or as per the Manu Samhita, or it is probably the serving the old. But here we have to understand that serving the Guru, serving the seniors, serving the Vaishnavas. Of course, serving the old also will help. And in fact, it is also mentioned that if you have to get blessings, the blessings should be from very senior devotees, and even from parents. We just need to get, only by getting the blessings from them, we can actually get the real intelligence. And what to speak of a guru, if you're able to get directly from a realized soul, entirely, completely, and who has come from the spiritual world, and if he is giving us the knowledge, then our intelligence will be most perfect. Then comes, what constitutes the divinity of Brahmanas? So divinity, how a Brahmana will become divine? By study of the Vedas. This is the answer what Dharmaraya gave. And what is the pious practice in them? What is that they have to have a pious practice? The asceticism, the penance, is actually the behavior that they are doing a penance. They are taking to some guidance of ascetic. That is the pious. They will get more piety. What is the human attribute of Brahmanas? It says death. Very interesting. What is the impious practice in them? Insulting anyone is the impiety. If you insult somebody, you will lose your Brahminical. Your insult. If you insult is somebody, you are hurting somebody. That should not be your mood. Your mood should always to elevate the other person. So that is the piety which is there. But if you are not doing that, you will actually become impious. And here the next one is actually about Kshatriyas. The 4 questions are there. What constitutes the divinity of Kshatriyas? If he has to become a Kshatriya, what is that the hallmark, or what is that he has to be gaining knowledge of? It says arrows and weapons. So he should become an excellent Shastradhar. What is the pious practice that he should have? He should encourage sacrifices, Havana, Homa, and he should be part of it. What is the human attribute of a Kshatriya? It is fear. So moment Kshatriyas means they're actually their epitome of fear. That means
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
if they refuse to protect dharma, then it will become impious. So this is the answer. So now if we come across, as I told, as when it comes to Brahmanas, the human attribute of a Brahmana, it says death. So but actually, it is death means, we don't have that. The mrityu is the one as a human. No, actually what? The one who takes us away from the death, he is actually a Brahmana, because he is actually preaching to the whole world the Krishna consciousness, and he is actually giving the solution to how to overcome death. So that person is a preacher, a Brahmana. So that is a typical.
Any problem with the network?
I think so, yes, Prabhu.
Questions which are asked, and there is something to which we can apply in our KC also. So I will just come across, I will touch upon that. Yeah. What should be renounced? So if what is renounced makes one agreeable, that is pride. This is the answer what Yudhishthira Maharaj gave. So very, very depth of understanding that we can have, that if this has to be renounced, what is that has to be renounced? The pride or the ego. The moment we leave that, and that is what we learn even in Shikshashtaka, where Chaitanya Prabhu gave Nadhanam Najanam. So that is the one. So once we give out that, we relinquish that, then we can have a peaceful spiritual life. What if renounce leads to no regret? Anger. That also we come across in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna has mentioned umpteen times how we have to kama, krodha. This has to be actually relinquished. What if renounce makes one wealthy? So this is again another aspect. If you have to renounce, you have to become wealthy. It is a desire. So the umpteen desires what we have actually will bound us in this material world. But if you are desiring, if you are not desiring any material, if you are not having any material desire, but having only spiritual desire, spiritual aspirations, then you can actually be the most wealthiest and most advanced devotee. What if renounce makes one happy? So he says greed. The more we have a greed, of course, all these are part of the Arishtavarga. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. So how we can link it and then see that how even in spiritual life also, these are the things which actually causes impediment. And then if we are able to come out of this, then we can get some real benefit. And there is one more thing which I will cover up, 4 questions, and with that I will end today's session. Why give? It's all about giving now. Why one give to Brahmanas? Why we should do some alms donations to Brahmanas or for a religious cause? So it says, the answer he says is that for religious merit, to acquire some pious credits, punya. That's why we have to give it to Brahmanas. Then why one give to actors and dancers? So probably at that point of time this was there as a, so for fame, if you want fame, then you should give it to some celebrities. Why one give to servants for supporting them? Why one give to king for obtaining relief from fear? So that they can do their kshatriya activity. So like this, very interesting question answers was there. And finally, since he gave answer, Yudhishthira Maharaj gave answers for each and every of these questions, he finally got the he actually Yamadharmaraya, he himself appeared, Yamadharmaraya, and then he gave his blessings to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then he said that you can now peacefully you can do your Agyatavasa, because this is most tough job, Agyatavasa, that you have to become incognito. They have to be incognito, should not be recognized by anyone. So it is so that if you have to do that, you should use all your intelligence and then see that you are protected. And that way he gave blessings, and that's how they finally successfully they could complete this Agnatavasa. And then there is one another set of questions which were there. It says, who is truly happy? So who is truly happy? The answer which given by Yamaraj was, Dharmaraya was, one who can cook in own home, one who can refrain from tamas food, one who has no debt, one who does not come out of home for his livelihood, one who does not over strive for material things. So all these, gems of an answer are there, which actually we learn in our Vaishnava etiquette also. That, if you have to have prasad, the bhog should be prepared by the devotees, prepared by your own self, and then offered to the Lord. If you are eating outside, and if you are taking other, because the entire the vasanas of that person will get into the food, and then you will have to suffer. So that is mentioned here. And you have to avoid tamasic food, and you should not have any debt. The lesser the debt, the more happy you are. So like this, and then finally, not strive for material things. And what is the most wonderful thing? This is a very, very famous question which was asked. And as Yudhishthira Maharaj says that every day so many living entities are dying, going back to the Yamlok and whichever loka. But they are thinking that they will be living forever. What is more wonderful than this? This is the question which he gives. Yeah. And then finally, what is the path, best path to be taken up? The best path is to follow the footsteps of pure devotees, Mahajans, whose hearts are full of real truth regarding dharma. So this is what, he is mentioning, that we have to take the devotees, we have to follow the devotees, and that way upheld the dharma. So as Bhagavatam also says that you take the yenagata pantaha, that those were the previous acharyas and our senior parampara, how they have taken the austerity methods and how they have cultivated their spiritual practice. So that we should take up, and only then that is the best path. So like this, we can link how these answers to bhakti marg, and find some interesting applications. So same way we can use these applications in our life also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Are these mentioned in the are these mentioned in Shrimad Bhagavatam? In any of the
Bhagavatam?
cantos?
No, it is not there. It is not there. But actually, this separately it is covered in Mahabharata. This actually comes in Mahabharata.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. We are doing it, so we are hearing Mahabharata.
Yeah, but I just tried to link with the answers and
Yeah, to Ashish Prabhu, so maybe we'll come across it.
Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, any other question?
Mataji, pranams. One small question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yaksha, Rakshasa, demons, were they characteristics or the humans?
Are there?
Humans. While creation, it was happened, Yakshas, Rakshasas and demons were created.
Yeah.
Now, while creation, these were happened. What about stage now in Kali Yuga? All these Yaksha quality, Rakshasa quality, demons qualities are in the human being alone.
Yes. So that is the progress of material life. That is a progress. Actually, earlier times, Yakshas and Rakshasas were actually a separate category.
Okay.
And they used to have enormous power. As Prabhupada also mentions, that enormous power, and they were completely in a destructive mode. But of course, in today's...
By that time, they were all the individual personalities.
Yes.
By that time, they were the individual personalities.
Yes. So they were there like that. But now the same Yakshas and Rakshasas are there found in men. More men are becoming more of that nature. Yes. Despite all that, there were certain categories of Yakshas. There were certain categories of Rakshasas which were there. But now it has taken the form in the human itself. It has taken the form. The characteristics are evident of those Yakshas and Rakshasas in the human. It has become more abundant in human. So that is being mentioned here. Like also mentioned, one of the Yaksha is actually Kuber. Kuber, he is a demigod. He actually had hold a position of a demigod. At the same time, he was also considered as one of the famous Yakshas. So like that, in history, we find so many Yakshas, especially in the Buddhist and the Jain philosophy. There are so many Yakshas. They have the murtis of Yakshas. They are the murtis and they worship the Yakshas also. and not the Rakshasas, but Yakshas, they were, and in the previous those times, Jainism and Buddhism. So there are many examples, and they were all very pious souls, but having a lot of enormous power and spiritual potency. So like this. But of course, now today, Kali Yuga kind of a thing. So these things have actually been non-existent, and then we find more in the human itself. These qualities are existing.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranams, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Bol. Yeah, like for example, Ravana. Ravana is considered as a Rakshasa, right? One of the, but actually he was also a devotee of the Lord. Correct? He was a great Shiva Bhakta, and he had so much of all the vices. So that way, he's equivalent to a Asura or a Rakshasa.
But this Kubera, sometimes can't imagine how it falls into that category. Prabhu, this Nalagriva and Manigriv's father, no, is a treasurer in the heavenly planet.
Yes. So like that. I mean, this is very, that's again, they probably had that qualities and they developed. And of course, what we can understand is that many of the things may not be revealed to us. Many of so many Yakshas were there, but is not revealed in scriptures. Maybe one Yaksha we found in Kubera, and Kubera's sons were Manigriva and Nalakubera, as we know, and they came in the famous Damodara pastimes. So like this, this is what is revealed.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Any other question? Okay, so we'll end here. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thanks for coming and enlightening us, Prabhu. Hari Bol. So we'll end here, Prabhu. Thanks.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasinubhyeva nanam
Siddhubhyevcha patitanam
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Mataji.
Thanks,
Nice class,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Shall I end the session?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.